Good afternoon, Twilight Struggle fans. Thank you for joining me today for an Atlantic League playoff game. Obviously, I'm not playing, I'm just watching. But today we'll have Tim Furrow and Michael Pustilnik for game three of their series. Michael won game one as the USA. Tim won game two to force game three, and here we are. So let's just get right to it. We'll play this one at 1.5 speed, and as always, we're going to be watching from Tim's perspective. Tim is the USSR for this one. Winner of this series gets Jim Hafley, rhymes with safely, in the second round. Winner of that series goes to the semifinals, and just as importantly, earns a Champions League bid. So a lot on the line today. It's winner take all, win or go home Twilight Struggle, as I like to say. Tim setting up in Austria rather than Yugoslavia, despite no sign of independent Reds or Truman in his hand. And this hand is pretty meh. Middle East scoring not good to see for the USSR on turn one. But Nasser is good. I think this is a clear Nasser headline. And then Tim, I think I'd probably still coup Iran, but Tim is not as big a fan of cooing as I am. So Tim might just spread. Okay, and with Asia scored, that makes cooing even less profitable. So we'll see if Tim might just take a dom here, might go... No, he is going to take the coup, and he'll roll big. Okay. So big number in Iran. Uses his 4-op, and now Tim can... will probably... So Michael, I would think, would just go into Lebanon and Malaysia, or maybe Malaysia's not even that necessary with Asia scored. Maybe Lebanon and France, but certainly we'll want to take a Middle East presence here. Tim has CIA in his hand, but is not worried about that at the moment. He does not have any... And he's got to play it this turn, but he'll want to play it after the scorings are gone. I assume we'll see Lebanon here from Michael, and then Tim can decide how frisky he wants to get. He could take a coup of Lebanon, leaving Michael presenceless, but I suspect Tim would rather just take Libya and Syria and set up a nice dom. But yeah, my play would be, if I had Europe scoring and I had a 4-op, my play would be Lebanon, France. Okay, I would go, I'm going to take Jordan instead of Lebanon. That I'm not sure I understand. Okay, Tim takes Lebanon and sets up the dom. I might have just taken Syria. Lebanon's a very inviting coup target. I would absolutely coup Lebanon here. Well, oh, wow. Big old 4-op coup. No, he's not going to coup Lebanon. I'm going to coup Egypt instead of Libya. Wow. Okay. Well, I think Tim is going to score here and then hope he doesn't see Fidel. Oh, no. So, yeah, you can score here. Yeah, so Tim, the Lebanon play was a good one because Michael didn't coup it. Oh, interesting. Okay, Tim thinking about cooing with CIA lowering DEFCON to 2. That if he does that, Michael can walk into South America if he so desires. I would score. I think you score, and you hope you don't see a Fidel coup. A Fidel coup would be a weird play here. Taking Thailand, I would think, is better. But I like the decision from Tim to score. If we see a Fidel coup, which obviously is a disaster for Tim, he still doesn't lose the game. He just has to play China. Okay, C5 to take Thailand. And now we can get CNS. I still don't think we're seeing a Fidel coup. So, yep, we get CNS off. I like that play from Tim. Tim now up 6 VPs. And Tim, again, just hoping not to see a Fidel coup. But again, a Fidel coup would be a strange play. Okay, De Gaulle into the empty France. I always like that play. And now you give CIA. on AR5. I don't like this. Oh, boy. Okay. So Tim is going to take his coup and allow Michael back-to-back ARs here. I guess maybe he didn't want to give up a coup of Lebanon, but now if Michael wants it, he can go Colombia here, then Venezuela, and then even get into Brazil if he wants to. This is a little bit of a dangerous play, but we'll see if Michael wants to do that. He might not. Michael might just say, you know what, I don't have the ops to be dealing with South America right now. I need to lock in my Europe dom. I want to take Algeria, and I'll deal with South America on turn 2. So we could just see France, Algeria, Laos. Oh no, it goes Thailand. Then spaces Sock Govs. Now Tim gets Algeria. Okay, that worked out pretty well for Tim. The third in Thailand probably would not have been my priority with Asia scored. I would have wanted to lock up France or take Algeria. But let's see what Michael has on his AR6. Okay, and didn't want to give an early Vietnam. That makes sense. Okay. All right, well, so he knew he had to get a third in Thailand. Okay, here we go, turn 2, and Tim gets D-Stall, which he's happy to see, but he does not get any cards with which to contest Europe. D-Stall, I think, is probably just the headline here with defectors in hand. I think you D-Stall, you coup, and then you hold defectors. Yeah, but yeah, this hand is garbage other than... Other than obviously D-Stall. But D-Stall is the most important card by far in the early war. So Tim with a D-Stall here in the headline can go Venezuela, Chile, Angola, Nigeria. If I didn't have defectors, I'd headline Europe here, no problem. Okay, containment is going to be a little bit annoying for Tim because Tim's ops are garbage, and now he's going to have to deal with very strong ops on the U.S. side. This would be Venezuela, Chile, Nigeria, Angola. For me. Yep. Question is, does Tim... Yeah, that's the play. And then just a 2-op coup of Panama. This just needs to be, I would think, an Olympic Games coup of Panama. Yep, Tim gets there. And hits the roll. That's great for Tim. Now, Michael can't bother Tim in South America. Tim he can bother him with realigns, but can't bother him with Colombia, jams, those kinds of things. So that's very helpful. Now, Michael should be, at this point, getting into Laos, but he can't bother South America with Tim's ops being garbage. So Tim needs to score Europe. He needs to hold defectors. Blockade probably stays. He probably keeps blockade in the deck. He's going to need the 1-op because he's got to take South Korea here. He's got to at least contest Western Asia. Okay, this will be Laos. Oh, I don't like that. That's a fine play, but that could have waited. Now Tim can get Laos if he wants. My play here would be Laos and South Korea to block off Michael. Yeah. That's fine too. Yeah, you don't want to eat those realigns. This is fine. Okay, yeah, I think that's a major misstep by Michael. He should have gone into Laos right away to threaten Western Asia. Now he could flip Laos if he wants, but that takes 3 ops instead of 1. Yes, I did, Jim. Yes, I pronounce your name right. Siri has no idea how to pronounce your name right, but I do. And I'm also pronouncing Laos right, thanks to you. Oh, and Michael's just going to give Fidel, and take South Korea. Okay, a little bit of a bold play there. And Tim's just going to trigger the war and hit. Oh, that's a huge moment in this game. Tim now with an 8 VP lead. He's got South Korea, and he's going to give up 5 for Europe, but that was big. That was large. Because he not only got South Korea out of the deal and 2 VPs, but he got Cuba as well. So Tim ahead in Central, ahead in South, ahead in Africa, ahead in the Middle East, ahead in Asia. Europe's his only bad region at the moment. Oh, the Middle East is even, I should say. He's not ahead anymore. Okay. And Michael gives Suez, which makes sense. And Tim doesn't even bother taking out of France with the Gaul gone. Yeah, I like that. Okay, and he's just going to repair, get it out of the deck. Overprotect of Laos really doesn't want to get it flipped. I think that's fine. And then Europe's got to score AR5 and then AR6. I think maybe you go into, I think you probably go into Zaire. Yeah, well, you're welcome in Atlantic League, Peter. But I know you like Derek commenting your games, so you know that's not nothing either. Michael now dominated in Asia. Okay, going to take a Middle East Dom. Tim has to surrender the 5 VPs now. He'll do that. Yeah, this has got to be a frustrating game for Michael. So you see those games every now and again where the USSR has ops but no access, and what they usually have to do is just fill up a bunch of Middle Eastern battlegrounds because they don't have access anywhere else. This is the opposite scenario. The U.S. has lots of ops here but no access, and so they're just filling up countries like Israel and Saudi, while Tim is spreading all over the board. In fact, Tim doesn't even have a good coup target turn 3. I guess he'll coup Egypt. Um, but yeah, this board looks great for Tim, despite the fact that he is dominated in the Middle East. Okay, Truman. Yeah, the second in Laos was weird, but I like it against containment. Michael able to stop the Dom with no problem, but he's blocked off from Western Asia. So Tim has the luxury of kind of waiting things out there. We'll see IP war. Yeah, Michael's hoping he'd step in there. Okay, and he gets 2 VPs, so 4 VP play there. And turn 3, Tim gets all the good stuff. He misses out on decall, but Tim probably doesn't even care that much about decall right now. He gets Purge, which is the clear headline now after Defectors is held. And then also picks up Marshall. And some decent redraws as well. Duck Marshall and NORAD, a little bit annoying. Okay, well, Europe scoring headline. Both bad France cards are gone. And Michael probably figured that a Purge headline was coming. So he headlined Europe, picks up 5 VPs. Tim, not thrilled to see that, to see Europe scored again so quickly, but he also wasn't going to contest it. Okay, Tim takes a throwaway 3-op coup. Interesting, doesn't use Formosan. I would have just used the 2-op there, but maybe he's worried about Taiwan being filled. I don't know why a 3-op coup there. I would have just used a 2. Okay, Middle East. Wow. So the 2 favorable scorings for Michael come right back, giving him a little bit of life here. But Tim is really going to be able to just take a bunch of countries here, while Michael's going to be twiddling his thumbs a little bit. Okay, Tim says he wanted tempo in case of the Middle East. Okay, but I would really rather be spreading out in South America and taking Panama than dealing with the Middle East. Okay, we've now taken Afghanistan and Pakistan to protect against IP war. But we've got a space duck. We have a 1-op of Truman. We have 2 ops of Formosan. NORAD's probably the hold. So we got defectors. We really, after this, we've only got 5 ops, presumably, to spend in South America. So 1 Venezuela, 1 Brazil, 2 Argentina, and then I guess 1 Panama. So you're not going to be able to fill South America now. But you will be able to make it VOA proof, which is what's most important. Michael quickly dumping 2 scorings. I would think that if Michael, I don't understand that at all. I don't understand that at all. That makes no sense whatsoever. Europe is scored. You don't need those countries. So those ops should be used to take Mexico. Or, honestly, what I would be using them for is, at this point, Miracle realigns on Chile or Panama because we have Mexico to take, but that's pretty much it. We don't have any countries to take in Asia other than Japan, and that's not going to stop Dom. And U.S. Japan's still out there. So yeah, I do not understand that those countries. Yeah, you protect Italy from a brush war, sure, but must have bigger. Okay, finally there goes the realigns, and it hits. Okay, so the realigns on Chile hit, and yeah, I would have liked to see Tim spread out and avoid that. So I think that was maybe more important than spending 2 in Afghanistan and 2 in Pakistan. But okay, Michael's going to space. Tim's going to space. Now, Tim has not even taken presence in South America here. I didn't like taking Asia Dom because if Michael had Asia, he would have certainly scored it over Europe in the headline or certainly over Middle East on AR1. I just don't believe there's any way Michael has it. Okay, so Tim gets Tim gets Venezuela and Brazil, but South America's still not VOA proof. Although VOA is a disaster of a card regardless, given the Africa situation. Nigeria, Zaire, Angola, Panama is a really terrible VOA. Okay, Michael takes Taiwan, and he stops Asia Dom. Okay, turn 4 hand. Che doesn't do anything, but this could be a nice Brezhnev hand. Definitely could be a nice Brezhnev hand. Salt doesn't do much for us at the moment unless we're salting for purge, but we don't want to salt here. I cannot imagine with Africa looking the way it does. I think this is a Brezhnev headline. We're not triggering IP war. Yeah, how I learned is, yep. And yeah, that is reasonable. Thank you to our chat for pointing that out. How I learned is a reasonable headline because we don't really want to coup Egypt. Well, we're happy to just take our mill ops and spread out on AR1. In fact, by spread out, what I probably mean is retake Asia Dom. Unless Michael drew the scoring and headlines it here. Tim just hoping mostly not to see VOA. Grain in his hand. Even Missile Envy's not that bad. Obviously, ABM's bad, but ABM's always bad. Ooh, okay. Well, Tim, that doesn't bother Tim, I don't think. This needs to take India, presumably. And then I'd take Panama. Or this is fine, too. But I would have certainly headlined Asia. I would have headlined really any scoring over that. Yeah, this is fine. So, yeah, I don't. This has got to be a frustrating situation for Michael. 7 countries each. 7 countries for Tim in Asia. 6 for Michael. Tim may be hoping Michael takes Japan here, then he gets a free U.S. Japan. That second in Laos looking very important here. Okay, AI war is free. Mexico finally taken. Okay, I think Spacing grain seems fine here. Or getting one into South Africa if you want to. Yeah, I like that. Decall to space. Misses. A lot of times I like the US Japan into Japan jam, but I would much rather space it in this spot because I think Michael would happily spend 3 ops to fill Japan if he knew US Japan was gone. If it does temporarily stop Dom. Okay, grain in the discard, CIA gone forever. Duck also in the discard, so Tim without any DEFCON concerns until the late war. Wow. Cultural not coming until. Oh, wow. Big realign rolls in Central. Wipes Tim out of Cuba and Panama. Also, very interesting that Cultural was not played until AR3. I absolutely would have played that AR1 if I were Michael. Okay, well, that completely flips the board on Central America. Now, Michael ahead there. Tim with no influence in Central. We'll see if Michael wants to take Cuba. With U.S. Japan spaced, we may see Michael. Okay, I'm going to put one in Cuba. Japan. We may see Michael take Japan by the end of the turn. Now that's a decent use of ops. I like getting one into South Africa here. Just get one in there so we can fight for it in case of a coup of Angola later. Yeah, I like this. Now, normally I'm a guy who likes to event salt, but I absolutely would not do that here. Although Tim doesn't have a lot of places to put his ops either. His countries are filled. He doesn't want to give up mill ops here. You could make a Uruguay play if you wanted. This could be salt could go 3 Uruguay. Then if you eat a coup, you have Che, but there's no second target. Okay, South African. That's great. I think Tim would. Yeah. Oh, just going to load up Angola. Interesting. Okay. Instead of going to South Africa, it doesn't want to go to Botswana and give mill ops. Yeah, Michael really needs South Africa because control is very much on the table. Oh my goodness, what a horrific hand here. Libs is awful. I do not understand why Michael would try those realigns in Central America if he knew he had to give libs. Michael's space decall. I would rather give decall than libs here. No question about it. Decall is not that bad. You're going to use him. He's going to use him in Southeast Asia. You can repair it. Yeah, I don't like the decision by Michael to give libs instead of decall. Just that libs hands over Panama and lets Tim contest Cuba. Yep. Okay. Yeah. South Africa, France. Now Cuba. Okay. Here we go. Turn 5. Tim picks up South America. No way into the bottom half. Accepting Quagmire. Bear Trap and Voice here. So Voice, the Pope is a mild issue. You don't want to give that. Southeast Asia is not getting better. So I wonder if this is a Quag headline. Yes, it is. ABM, what's that going to do? Is that just going to be a nice, safe Africa coup? Or will it go into Brazil? I guess what scoring does Michael have? This board could go south in a hurry. The VP track could go south in a hurry for Michael, particularly if he misses a roll. So this, I assume, yeah, if you're going to use ABM to coup in Africa, usually it can just wait for an AR. But maybe Michael was worried about an Africa headline. Yeah, Pakistan. I was going to say Pakistan. Makes sense. If you can get one in there, you can fight to hold off Asia Dom, and he does. He flips Pakistan over. So now Tim with a decision to make. He can flip Pakistan back with China if he wants. He can go into Uruguay if he wants, score a South America Dom. Maybe that presenceless South America Dom. Maybe that's my play. Is you go into Uruguay, then you score the Dom. You give up a coup, but then if Michael does coup, you can flip Pakistan. All right, but Tim's going to take a coup instead. All right, I like the decision from Michael to go Pakistan because that stops Dom in Asia. Okay, wow, and Michael discards special. Okay, and Tim does take the China flip with Pakistan, maintains Africa control. But he has problems here. He's got Bear Trap, Voice, and Puppets. VOA and Puppets are both very bad. Bear Trap, Self Trap is actually not that bad here because you don't have... as T Stark 3000 pointed out, there's not a lot of contested battlegrounds out there that are going to get flipped. Maybe Libya, and you're going to overprotect Pakistan. But I think this is a clear self-trap hand. You want to dump your scorings first. Okay, CRG's not the card Tim wanted to see. Interesting. 3 in Southeast Asia. I would have been fine with just the 1 in Burma. I think Tim has got to be thrilled that those other 2 went into Laos and Vietnam rather than into Nigeria and Zaire. So I think, yeah, this is with CRG. That's a lot of access there, and Tim's is a little uncomfortable here. Puppets is ungivable, Voice is ungivable. The Pope is givable, but you have to. It's an empty AR. It's worse than an empty AR, considerably worse than empty AR. So this has to be defectors. And I think you're just going to have to allow one of these non-battleground flips, which is really annoying with Southeast Asia in your hand. Okay, Tim is going to prep the Pope. But now Tim is running out of ARs here. He's only got 4 ARs left. 2 of them have to be scorings. I guess Tim is not... So Tim could score, space, and give up the Pope, and then a whole Bear Trap and VOA or Puppets. Okay, there goes Burma. I think you need to score Southeast now. Okay, no, he's going to score South America. I would have scored Southeast first, but I suspect that with Dom now stopped, Michael's not going to really have much interest in flipping over Laos. Okay, so good on Michael. He fought hard with Asia in his hand and only gave it up for 2. It looked really, really bad for him, but he was able to stop it on country count, and Tim only picks up 2 in Asia. Tim also got a turn 2 D-stall and only scored 4 in South America. So Africa remains the big question. VP track is even here. Michael ahead in Central. He's ahead in Europe. He's ahead in the Middle East. Asia is even. The big question is Africa. Can Michael get a foothold in Africa, or can Michael get get Kennedy and dump the scoring? Okay, Tim not going to self-trap. He's going to space VOA, give up the Pope. There goes Central. 3 more VPs, and now all of a sudden VP track is blue. Okay, my fault there. I forgot about... I do not understand for the life of me why Michael didn't go Nigeria, Zaire, and Algeria. He had Asia in his hand. He really needed to stop that Dom, but one Burma was good enough. There is no way that Tim is going to respond to a CRG, Algeria, Nigeria, Zaire, Burma by filling Burma. So Michael would be able to then take Burma and stop the Dom. So yeah, I don't. If he had ops, Michael would be able to flip one of those countries. Yeah, see that 4-op would have been able to flip one of those African battlegrounds. Now you're just stuck jamming. And here's turn 6. Okay, Tim with a sigh of relief, he picks up Africa. Missile envy is a problem here for him. So I think we probably will see a Muslim headline, which is a good event in its own right. Sadat's gone. That's going to remove 7 influence in the Middle East. And Tim doesn't have to self-trap here. Matter of fact, this may be a Pope space and a bear trap hold. But I think this has to be Muslims. Because a missile envy headline is very bad. Missile envy means you're giving up a coup in Africa, and then you only have 2 ops on AR1. Oh, CMC. Okay. You only have 2 ops on AR1, and that one's not going to be good enough to fix Algeria, so you're losing Algeria as well. Tim headlines CMC, which is going to stop a coup on Panama, and we'll just get a realignment instead. 1-6 and a 2-2. Okay, so that does nothing. And Tim now I assume Tim will use, my play would be Muslims here, take back Algeria, and then take a non-battleground in Africa. No. Okay. All right. I would have taken a non-battleground in Africa so that if we see a big event, we can just score Dom right away. But Tim, I think, is probably taking Dom for granted. VOA, grain, gone. The only power card left is Brush. And in fact, if Michael has Brush, we're going to see it right now on Algeria. And if Michael doesn't have Brush, Tim should score a nice, easy control here. CRG is the problem for Tim, but it is safely gone and used in a way that I did not agree with. But once Michael fills Chile, Africa is going to be Africa right now is Tim's only Dom. He has control there. Okay, Tim defending his play, saying he didn't want to go into a non-battleground because Michael doesn't have mill ops. And it's true that even if Michael has Brush and hits on Algeria, we can simply play 2 ops. Okay, he's going to take presence in Tunisia and set up realigns. Tim says, have at it, I will take my 10. Okay, so big sigh of relief from Tim. He gets his Africa control off, now has a 9 VP lead. Michael, though, with 3 Doms on the board. Tim with just 1. Omid event, a lot of the big boys are gone. Omid's not going to hit any scorings. It's not going to hit gunmen. I'm not 100% sure what Michael's looking for here. We will bury you, flower power. Does hit missile envy. So, okay, yeah. I guess if you're going to discard, we will... There's a play to be made in a situation like that where you keep flower power in the deck as the U.S. for turn 7 if Missile Envy is also unseen. So, because flower power is a great card for the U.S. to give to Missile Envy, and so the USSR doesn't want to get flower power, but USSR also doesn't want to give flower power to Missile Envy. But if you're getting rid of We Will Bury You as well, okay, blockade, OPEC... I didn't even see what else. Allende. Okay. So that's a decent discard. I certainly was hoping to get Africa. Tim Space's Bear Trap misses on the roll that time. So Tim with headline peak. And perhaps with some DEFCON issues in the late war. And I cannot believe... Okay, well, Brush rolls a 2 in Panama. I cannot believe Brush was not used in Algeria before the scoring. That is crazy to me. Algeria was full odds, and also would have flipped over Algeria for the game, given that it would have been 10-0. Wow. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Brush War clearly was just drawn with Kennedy. Never mind. He just got it with Kennedy. Sorry, folks. Yes. He just drew Brush with Kennedy. That makes sense. Okay. Panama Canal. Yeah, a little bit annoying for Tim. I think you do that. Michael needs to get into Chile here. Michael needs to get into Chile here. Tim probably wants to overprotect stuff. He could trigger Willie with an eye on War Games and the VP track, and an eye on perhaps ending the game with an Africa scoring redraw turn 7. At least one in Chile here, please. Okay, there goes 2. So Tim, okay, and that makes sense too. Take away the Middle East Dom. So Tim got Middle East Dom turn 1, but had that turned on its head turn 3 when Michael got a Middle East Dom. Tim got a presenceless at South America, but that was only 4. Okay, I'm not sure what Botswana does. Oh, an Africa redraw. Oh boy, this could be GG right here. An Africa headline, Willie AR1 is GG, unless Michael has an answer. We've seen all 3 power cards. We've seen Missile Envy. Tim doing the math here, thinking about ending the game right now. Oh, that's a good redraw. That is a very good redraw. Now, Algeria is 50-50 here now, not full strength. And Tim, I wonder if Tim just headlines Willie and hopes, Willie's the right headline, and he's going to hope this doesn't go to Africa. If it doesn't go to Africa, or if it misses, that's GG. Tim hoping to see Panama here, but... Oh, it is Panama. But, and of course, though, that hits, and the 1 VP is enough to keep the game going. So my mistake. I forgot about the actual VP of Brush War. So Tim now with the decision. He can take the VP track to 19, or he can take his coup. Okay. He gives up NORAD. I am not sure I love that. I might have gone with a 2-op coup because I want to space both those cards and lock in that 3 VP. I might have cooed with 1 small step. But Tim really wanted to at least break Mexico so that Michael had to fix and couldn't do anything to affect Africa. Okay, this shouldn't affect Africa. Yeah, and now Tim scores. Africa get the VP track to 19. I really wish Tim had. If I were Tim, I would really want to have 2 space shots here instead of just 1, though. That's my issue. Oh well, there is a central. So Tim wasn't going to win the game this turn anyway, unless, of course, that brush had missed. Wow. So Tim almost had the game, but okay, Michael's best scoring and Tim's best scoring both come back turn 7, and we play on. Tim with a 12 VP lead. Certainly I'd rather be Tim here, particularly with the space race lead, but Tim might have some DEFCON concerns. Okay, A for P is a big 5. Oh, A for P could have been the headline instead of Brush, but it would have been just 4. But of course, Michael not thinking about Africa being redrawn. Okay, so Tim might want to hold nuke subs here, but holding nuke subs means you're giving up OAS. Giving up OAS means you've got to spend 2 ops over protecting Venezuela and Brazil, which Tim is probably happy to do. Okay, I'm a little bit confused by that. I think I would have just overprotected. But, okay, Uruguay is an important country. Sets up Iron Lady shenanigans later. OAS, Summit, and Nuke subs, I believe, should all be known. Defectors, I think Tim held to turn 3, so I think Defectors is a redraw. Ooh, Salt for the event. Going to pull Brush. Wow. Wants a third shot at Brush. The first one missed on Panama. The second one hit on Panama. And now the third Brush. Okay, Tim going to give up nuclear subs. Okay, yeah. Michael could take some shots at Africa here, even though it's scored. That is, flipping over 2 African battlegrounds would really change the story in final. Okay, there goes arms race. Oh, I don't like that. I would much rather coup Africa. Even if you hit it, even if you roll a 6 there, even if you roll a 6, Brazil is realignable immediately. I would have much rather coup Africa there, even with South America unscored. Oh, VOA, what a redraw. Okay, going to empty Brazil and Libya. Wow, okay. And Tim can't get back into Libya. Tim going to coup, give up NORAD. NORAD can flip something. NORAD could flip Pakistan. NORAD could flip Algeria. Would probably, yeah, maybe it's Venezuela. Tim now going to be dominated in 3 regions here. Okay, yeah, Algeria. Brush is Venezuela. Oh, and it misses again. Wow. Brush could have just been played for ops there to take Brazil. Instead, he tries the roll, misses. Okay, here we go, turn 8. We're in the late war now. Allende redraw is a little bit nice for Tim. He can be annoying with that. Asia is going to give Tim 2 VPs. Presumably. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. I think this is just an Asia headline. You just get rid of it, take your 2, and coup. Yep. I think I'm fine taking a 1-op coup. I mean, maybe you take a big. This is a little crazy, but maybe you take a big coup of Venezuela. You could use your 4-op, take a coup of Venezuela, even though you already control it. Anything but a 1, and you knock him out of there, which means it's no longer a NORAD target, and he can't take Brazil. Oh, Tim gonna go for Argentina and hit. Wow, Tim needed a 5, and he hits the roll. If he misses on that roll, He's looks at potentially looking at getting dominated in South America. Okay, now NORAD probably goes Venezuela, and then Michael can flip over Venezuela and maybe put one in Brazil if he's got a 4-op. My NORAD play here would be Venezuela, and then I'd take it and put one in Brazil if I had a 4. The rest of this turn is going to be annoying for Tim. He's got U.S. Japan presumably goes to space in an effort to pick up 3 VPs, and then he's got nothing but 1-op plays or events until AR7 when he gets 2 ops of Chernobyl. Okay, there goes War Games. Salt is gone. 1 Brazil. Yeah. Okay, so that's a good play from Michael, and Tim cannot contest that in any meaningful way. Unless he wants to give Japan. Okay, so he's not going to take the space shot. And he's going to hope that Michael doesn't have another 4 to jam that. This is a little uncomfortable for Tim. Tim looked like maybe he had the game wrapped up, turn 7. Oh, Warsaw. Okay. Tim probably happy to see that. Eastern Europe was looking a little bit weak, and now he doesn't have to worry about that. Chernobyl's also going to be gone, so there's not going to be any issue with a Europe play. Okay, this might be a situation where I think Colombia. Yep, Colombia is good. Michael needs mill ops, and you're giving him a very good target, but he could have just cooed Saharan anyway. So I think this is fine. You just make Michael spend time cooing while you're under purge instead of bullying you. So I like that play. I'd trigger Allende next. Clear coup of Colombia, anything but a 1. Yeah, that's a big number. I would trigger Allende now. Just kind of bide our time a little bit. Okay, this is fine too. Libya does need to be filled at some point, but Tim with no access in there, so it's not a rush. So Tim has already lost Venezuela and Algeria to NORAD. AWACS for the event. Wow. Really, really protective of the Middle East. Maybe it's possible that Michael has Muslims in his hand, and that's why he triggered it. War Games is in the discard. Salt is gone. So this one's going to final unless Tim finds himself with some DEFCON concerns. Portuguese is not a problem for Michael. I might take the roll here on Iran, a 50-50 shot at 2 VPs. Yeah, I like this play from Tim. He misses on the roll, though. We will bury you to space. Michael finally gets off the ground. Okay, yeah, setup realigns on Chile. Makes perfect sense. I was thinking, we still have CRG around, and Nigeria and Zaire are extremely vulnerable to it. But Peru certainly more important. I'll try and play a little bit of offense here in South America. Tim with just 1 dom on the board to 3 for Michael. So if we do the math now, Michael with 8 in Central, 5 in Europe, 3 in the Middle East. Oh boy, and that's going to Oh, and yeah, that gives him a temporary Asia dom. Now Tim needs to take back both of those if Formosa stays in effect. Okay, here we go for turn 9. Decent hand here for Tim. He's got OPEC, which is on only 2. South African doesn't do anything. Ortega, he's not happy to see in his hand. Latin American debt crisis, though, could be a very important card, alongside terrorism especially, and Libs might help him break into Central. But if you look at the board now, if you assume Asia's even, if you assume that, even though it's a U.S. dom right now, 3 in the Middle East, 5 in Europe, and 8 in Central. So that's 16 VPs for Michael to just 6 for Tim on the board. So Tim is behind here. He's going to be even more behind now because he's going to give up 3 in the Middle East. Tim has no way to contest this. He could play OPEC for a couple of VPs and just essentially get pulled 2 back. But I think Libs is probably a better headline. The challenge is you don't have the ops to repair the damage in Asia, much less take advantage of getting the 2 into Mexico. But yeah, Tim does not have. Tim's got a lot to do here, and garbage ops to do it with. So I think, I think Libs is the headline. And then Tim needs to repair one of these countries, but he's still dominated in Asia with Formosa. Okay, so there's Libs. 2 Mexico for sure. 1 Cuba, I guess, even though it can be realigned at +3. Okay, Nicaragua's fine. That makes sense too. OPEC. Yeah, Tim wants 2 VPs out of OPEC, but I think he needs the ops. He's got to repair the damage in Asia, and he wants to take Mexico. I think this is fine. There's 3 VPs. So Tim has the one good thing. Tim has terrorism and a problematic Latin American debt crisis. So North Sea oil is going to be basically free, particularly when you consider the fact that Michael does not want to play China with Formosa in effect and Taiwan full. Okay, Tim's going to save his 3 op and flip over Mexico. I think that makes sense. Michael now with the opportunity to coup if he wants, or he can flip over North Korea. But flipping an Asian battleground with China doesn't do much for him because it cancels Formosan, and then Tim just takes the other Asian battleground, and Asia's still even. So see what kind of ops Michael has. He might want a coup. Okay, Solidarity was a dead card. Just going to take a coup in Zaire. Flip. There goes NORAD. NORAD's been a problem for Tim. I think you take back North Korea. Yep. Take back North Korea. Michael will take India and then have Dom. But Asia's scored, so it only matters for final, and then Michael can't play China. Okay. I think now's the time to trigger terrorism. I think you want to event terrorism. You want to event the debt crisis. Oh, Tim's going to take his relines and hit big. Oh, that's huge. Huge to flip over Chile there in 2 rolls. My 3rd roll probably goes here to Zaire. Not going to really do anything, but maybe you get a 6-1. Yeah, it's not going to do anything, but okay. Tim now with the South America Dom. That's very large. So we'll see. I'll see how Tim wants to play this. Latin American debt crisis now not as big a deal. I was thinking you trigger terrorism, trigger Latin American debt crisis, then North Sea oil is free. Tim could space North Sea and play the other cards for ops. Tim misses on the coup roll. Needed his mill ops, but that's a tough roll if he wants to hold on to Mexico. If Michael has the ops, we'll see if he does the poke Mexico, take Guatemala thing. South America and Europe, the only regions out there that are unscored. Okay. Finally, Michael stops the double. Latin American debt crisis for the event. He's triggering it now. Okay, figuring that if Michael doesn't discard, he gets to fill Chile and put 3 in Venezuela, which is huge. If Michael does discard, North Sea's free. So Tim wins either way. Michael seemed like a guy who's discarding. Yep. Ooh, there's IP War. Okay, so that's a break for Michael. Oh, and tries to even realigns and misses. That's a break for Michael. He wasn't going to hit on Pakistan, but India a little more vulnerable there. Okay, North Sea now doesn't need to be spaced. North Sea can be played for ops. Tim might want to space it anyway because he wants VPs. But North Sea can be played for ops here. Michael is not going to play the China card, I have to think. Oh, interesting. Okay, going to trigger terrorism now. Okay, now North Sea is free. Oh, hostage crisis. Oh boy, yeah, that didn't work. Yep. Yeah, that's a good play from Tim. That's a very good play from Tim, and that's some carelessness from Michael not filling up Libya. Michael can play China now if he wants to, but if he does, Formosan's canceled, which is a problem. And, of course, Tim gets China on turn 10. I also believe that Gunman is in the deck. It was UN. Yep, and Michael's going to pass. Okay, turn 10. This hand is... Okay, a lot of good, a lot of bad here. Blockade could be a nasty surprise, but we're going to have to self-trap, dump grain to the trap. 5-year plan Europe on AR7. Okay, boy, so Junta, a clear headline. Junta could flip over Venezuela, and if that happens, and Michael has the scoring, that's going to be GG. Oh boy. Also, we don't want to give any of these cards to Missile Envy. Okay. Oh, ABM. It's still Junta. But now ABM, if Michael was thinking of filling up Libya with ABM, now he knows he's giving up 2 coups to Tim if he does that. Tim very glad at this moment that he did not self-trap earlier, and Bear Trap is still in the deck. I assume this is a Brazil coup. If he has the scoring, it's certainly a Brazil coup. If it's not, a Mexico coup makes sense. A Nigeria coup also makes sense. Would stop Tim's dom. We'll see how frisky Michael's feeling. Needs a 3 in Mexico. Needs a 5 in Brazil. Even a 1 in Nigeria is fine. He also knows Junta's coming, and so does not want. So he probably figures he's screwed in South America anyway. Michael might be someone who has South America scoring and is really mad that he's seeing Junta. Okay, he's just going to take the safe coup in Nigeria. This should just be a Venezuela coup. Okay, it doesn't hit, but that's fine. Tim can now take control in South America. So he's lost 5 VPs in Africa, but he picks up 3 in South. So let's assume for the moment. This will be Libya. Yep, So now Middle East is even. Let us assume for the moment that Michael does not have South America. Okay, let's assume he doesn't have it. And let's also assume Michael is able to hang on to China and maintain Asia Dom into final scoring. Michael with 5 in Europe, 5 in Asia, and then another 2 in Central. That's 12. Tim with South America control. Oh, and he's also a +1 in Africa, so that's 13. Tim with South America control, that's 8. He's also got 3 on the board, so that's 11. Michael is ahead here. So the question is, does he have South America scoring? Really trying. Oh, and he hits the realigns. Tim is that's a major problem for Tim. Tim now really needs Michael to have South America. And he needs him to not have Aldrich. So Aldrich is unseen, remember. Aldrich is unseen. And we don't have anything to disrupt Michael's hand. Oh, Missile Envy could have been big. Because that would have taken 5-year plan, Bear Trap, 5-year plan, Bear Trap, or Brezhnev, all of which would have been terrible to give. Missile Envy headline over ABM would have been huge. Okay, Tim gonna trigger blockade, which is relevant even if Michael doesn't discard. Because if Michael does discard rather, because if Michael has Aldrich and South, that means he won't have an AR7 unless he plays China, which of course gives up Dom. Okay, he's gonna discard Aldrich. Okay, so Michael clearly doesn't have South America. That's a big problem for Tim. That is a large problem for Tim. So even realigns and Tim misses. Ugh. Tim is in big trouble now. Michael not playing like someone who has South America. Someone who has South America wouldn't have discarded to blockade if Aldrich was the only possible discard. Michael now with Africa Dom, Central Dom, Europe Dom, and Asia Dom. He's got 4 Doms on the board to Tim's 1, and it looks like Tim's not going to score his Dom. Tim's going to have to self-trap here. He's also only got 1 opportunity to get out of the trap. Otherwise, he's done playing. For those of you concerned about Michael's clock, Atlantic League, we play 90-minute clocks by default. Players are encouraged to play 60 minutes, but not required to do so. Tim's got a self-trap here. Skip AR6, then 5-year plan on AR7. Boy, I thought Tim had this one. Tim probably thought he had it too when he got to 19 VPs on turn 7 with Africa. So Michael Pustilnik advances to play Jim Hafley in round 2. Winner of that will be headed to Champions League. That's an easy fix. Green discarded. Tim is out, so he will be able to 5-year plan Europe. Yeah. Really nothing to be done here. Miracle realigns. Does not work. GG. So congratulations to Michael. He is on to the next round. Now, well-fought game here by Tim, but comes up just short. Wow. And at the end of the game, look at this board. 5 doms for Michael to just 1 for Tim. Unbelievable. What a turnaround. Tim just could not quite slam the door in the mid-war. Okay, he is going to play China. He can just poke North Korea, though. Yeah, poke, take. That makes sense. And there's 18 VPs, so a 15 VP win for Michael. Congratulations to him. Thanks, everybody, for watching. A nice season for Tim in Atlantic League. Falls just short of the quarterfinal round. But thank you, Tim, for sending in the video. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Hope you enjoyed this game as much as I enjoyed bringing it home to you. Until next time, Justin Abramson signing off. That was fun, but now it's done. So long, everybody.